are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the landing party. I'm Graham Nolan, and your captain's log is Stardate 2411.06 tonight. Talking about Metamorphosis, the second episode of the second season, written by Gene L. Kuhn and directed by Ralph Senensky. For an episode with absolutely no action, it's surprising that this one is one of my favorites. It's beautiful and touching love story. When Kuhn was rewriting scripts during the first season, he took out the guts of the alternative factor and removed an interracial romance. The approach was too on the money for NBC at that time. For this episode, he went full-on Jonathan Swift by sci-fying it up and having an interspecies relationship between a man and an alien cloud-like creature known as the Companion. We meet Zephram Cochrane, the discoverer of the space warp, played by Glenn Corbett, a man who went into space as an old man to die. He meets the Companion who restores his youth and who, unbeknownst to him, loves him. It's a story of unrequited love between Cochrane and the Companion, and the never loved, the Nancy Hefford character, which is hard to believe considering she's played by the gorgeous Eleanor Donahue. This episode is the first of only a few times in the show's history that Captain Kirk is never seen on the Enterprise. This is also the first time the Universal Translator is mentioned and used. They had talked about using it earlier in the series, but they never had an opportunity. And they run all the science and tech stuff by DeForest Research. That's the company that would go over it and tell them, what is real, what's possible, all that kind of stuff. And they said the Universal Translator is an impossibility. But their policy as storytellers was that when science gets in the way of drama, you choose drama. And so it stayed. Okay, so my friends, let's invite the rest of the landing party in here. We have the traveling troubadour, Mr. Ron Gardy.
I was just doing, while you were doing your monologue, I was just doing Space Oddity by David Bowie.
Oh, cool.
Behind your thing, and it matched really well.
Oh, nice.
I was going.
We should do it live next time. Yeah, it's good.
This is Ground Control.
Major Tom. And we have the man from the West Coast.
Sick interspecies romance, disgusting episode. Don't get me
surprised you guys. Come on now.
I'm surprised you're so puritanical in this day and age.
I am. I'm just like what's his face? What was the character?
Cochrane?
Yeah. He didn't want nothing to do with that.
That's right.
What did he say? He said, I can see that the morals and something else are not present in the future or something, as he storms out of his little hovel. I'm with him.
Wait, what are you complaining about?
We have Anna. Hello.
Hi.
Sucking on a juice box.
It's electrolytes.
Soccer game.
Electrolytes. There we go.
Yeah.
You need those, boy. I tell you, all that potassium. Babies suck all that stuff up.
I know.
Absolutely.
It's like, give me more.
Yeah.
Feed me.
I'm eating for two.
Seymour.
It's like it's a plant from that show.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horror. Yeah.
So Aaron, you were saying that he wasn't on board with what?
He wasn't on board with when he found out that it was like some female entity that he was having relations with. He felt
that freaked him out, right?
Yeah.
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 It freaks me out.
Until she took on human form, then he was like,
oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Well, then,
Yeah. Oh, you know,
all of a sudden.
He noticed that she didn't take the form of like the salt vampire or something like that.
Oh, can you imagine?
She gets the beautiful figure of Eleanor Donahue.
Picture you being trapped on there with this entity that's in love with you, and you're horny as a motherfucker. And this creature wants you, but it can't touch you because it's just energy.
It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. Sorry. Now
didn't make the script.
We need to flash back to the Salt Sucker episode, because if you remember, Kirk accused Dr. whatever his name was of that this monster was his lover as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's even worse.
Yeah, and she had those suckers, you know.
Yeah. And those feet.
That's the difference I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. Granted, this energy being was better than the Salt Sucker, but no thanks. I'm staying away from that.
Yeah. Well, see, in the Salt Sucker's planet, she was hot.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Well, she could become whatever you wanted. Well, so could this.
Right.
But I mean, that ghastly looking thing might have been Anna in a different.
Yeah, she was the hottest girl.
That was the Salt Sucker version.
It was the Anna of the planet, of that planet.
Oh my God.
Not pregnant that we're aware of, though.
Yeah. Well, they don't get pregnant in their bellies. They get it in their foreheads. So she'd be up here showing us like this. Like, check it out.
Like an Outer Limits episode.
Keeps kicking me.
Heads going like this.
Yeah. Like the brain dudes in the cage. Maybe they were pregnant. Maybe.
Oh my God!
We always saw those little air pockets.
Veins and yeah.
That was pretty good effect, when you think about it, for 1965 TV.
You could say that. You could say that.
Yeah. What did they have? Like a little
show.
Did they have somebody pressing a thing like this?
Yeah. It was like a bladder, and it was just.
Were they doing it themselves? I wonder.
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, because they had to walk, so they didn't have somebody in the background going.
Yeah, or if their hands are down to their side, or they had those long sleeves too.
That's right. They could hide
the thing in there. Yeah.
Right.
Had that great pig head too. Remember?
That would be interesting.
The boar's head that when he was choking out the butt head and it turned into that boar head. Yeah, some good stuff.
That's where they got the ham from.
Pike gets back on the ship. We're having ham, crew. No more of that synthesized stuff. We're having ham tonight.
It tasted damn good.
Yeah, sliced up the butt head and served her as a pig.
Yeah.
So back to the show.
Yeah. Well, what about this episode? Let's talk about this one, because I personally love this episode. It is one of my favorites in the entire series.
Really?
It really is. I
Oh,
think the acting is so good. I think the story is great. In spite of no action, it captivates me. I think it's a great love story. The music is excellent. And I think it won a what's that sci-fi award they give you for TV shows?
Saturn.
Saturn. Yeah,
it might be the Saturn Award. It won something like that for its set decoration.
Well, that's not an award.
It's a major award, Swede.
Swede.
The romantic setting. Come on, this is a total chick episode. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. I hated this episode.
Aaron has no romance.
Anna, was this a chick episode?
I'm a chicken. I don't even really like it that much.
Oh, see, look, hey, we're on the same page for once.
I know.
Two chicks.
Weird.
Look at
two chicks. Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. If you want to put a romance in a Star Trek episode, put some Klingons in there, maybe some Mugatu, maybe a little Gorn inside. We need action.
It's not about romance, dude. That's what you're missing.
Yeah, it's about interspecies relations and making.
It's not about interspecies anything. You're getting perverted.
You realize, like, there's so many interspecies relationships throughout all of Star Trek. I mean, look at Spock. He wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Vulcans
You-
and
you-
humans.
Yeah, well, he's humanoid, you know.
But that hadn't come out yet. Just don't forget, this is the second one that was
Well,
filmed.
we knew that he was half Vulcan. They've said it before.
Well,
Guys,
that's true. That's true. Yeah, they did
guys,
say
guys.
his mother.
You're missing the point.
Oh, I don't think I am. But
Educate.
explain it to me, Ron.
What's the point?
Yes, explain it
The
to us,
point
Ron.
is that when loneliness is probably the worst thing any humans, let's just talk about humans, anybody can go through in life. Loneliness is the absolute worst. Now, loneliness will cause species of all kinds to cure themselves of that because it's so distressful and awful. People kill themselves every day over loneliness, right? That creature, that energy field, was just as lonely, as more lonely than what Zephram Cochrane even was, to the point where it wanted to keep him alive and it loved him just for its companionship. It wasn't about romance. It's not like it's it's taking her on dates and stuff and trying to court her. It's just about loneliness out in interstellar space, and he went out there to die. And he couldn't even die, but imagine coming to a place where you're kept alive to cure someone else of some other creature of their loneliness. So he had compassion for it. It's about compassion for loneliness. It's not about romance.
Well, I wish they'd had a little compassion for my boredom. That's all
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
Fair enough. If that's I completely get that. If that's what bores you, then it shows that your depth of character, and that's fine. But I mean,
I demand more, Ron. That's what it is.
Yeah, I
more
think it
loneliness.
would have been much better if Karen wasn't in it, or if she was less of a Karen.
Well, gosh, she was such a bitchy. I
That-
hated
I'll
her.
give you
Like,
that
hurry up
much,
and
because-
die.
Yeah,
What?
she comes across as very unlikable. There's never a moment where she's not sick and she's likable, and then we can see her kind of go down the rabbit hole because of the sickness progressing in her. She's sort of a bitch right from the get-go.
Yeah,
And
and if
so,
you're going to be
yeah, I
that
agree.
bitchy, you
That
have
could
to
have
be a
been
lot
better.
hotter.
Well,
Well,
it explains why she never had any love if she was
she
that
was
kind
a
of
bitch,
attitude her whole life.
and so you kind of, because of that, normally you probably take some umbrage to her being taken over by this entity, but she had that fever, so at least it saved her life.
Well, it makes her more pleasant.
Right, and it made her that much more
Improvement.
pleasant.
In the original script, she dies, and then the creature takes over her body and resurrects it. And the network said no way, because
Yeah, I like that she did
the
that.
Catholics, according to them, at that time would have been up in arms about the
That would be like
resurrection of the
demonic possession.
Yeah, that too, So somebody had suggested, I forget who, if it was Justman or Kuhn, that she's on the brink of death, and that when the companion goes into her, they're now sharing that space.
I wonder how much different it would have felt had she not been portrayed the way she was, like as a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very, toxic personality. If she was actually very nice, I wonder how.
Do you think?
I don't know that it would have worked as well because.
Well, do you think they went down that road because they didn't want us to miss her when she was basically taken over, and it was like, well, at least, like Anna and I were just joking that at least that's an improvement.
Mhm.
Do you think it was to protect from that? Because if she, like you said, if she was nice and then she gets taken over by this creature, you're kind of like, this isn't really fair.
Actually, that's what I'm looking at the comments. Bar Steward says that very thing. Says, "Oh, hey, put an annoying woman in there, then it can body snatch her, and nobody will mind because she sucks."
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, there's also the contrast of when she is taken over, and she says, "Oh, Ephraim, how can you stand this loneliness? After it's in the body,
Yeah.
And she becomes a very sympathetic creature now, and
Because she realizes he's even more lonely than she is. than the creature was, because the creature
Right.
was lonely, you know, and
Exactly.
to be housed in this shell.
Yeah.
And honestly, that it's a real poignant statement, because at the end of the day, as much as we like to connect with each other and people, and we are insular creatures. We seek connection constantly. The greatest one we have is with a woman and and a man, and bearing children, and that's the greatest connection you can have. But other than that, we're insular and lonely at the end of the day. You know what I mean? We're by ourselves constantly here. Nobody's ever in here completely with you. That's why the human connection is so important. Being with somebody that you can look in
Yeah.
their eyes and feel like you're in there with each other.
Well,
You go,
we're
"Where's my
social
dinner?"
creatures. Humans are social animals. It is that societal evolution that has allowed us to survive and to rise above animals that are bigger, faster, stronger, have better weapons than us. It's banded together in that societal sense, which gives us strength. That and our intelligence, and
I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, well, just on that track, a little on the side, being a comic book illustrator was extremely. I know it sounds funny to say, but it was extremely difficult for me personally at when I early in my career, because I wasn't married. I had a girlfriend, on and off, and then I had a serious girl, but there was problems there. But there were times, and I had a dog. I got a dog just to cure myself from the loneliness I had, because I was just by myself all day drawing.
right,
And all my friends were getting married and raising children. And I remember looking at my phone, and I couldn't really call anybody because they were all raising kids at that point. Everybody
right.
had their lives. It wasn't me and the boys going out and howling at the moon like we used to when we were younger. So and it would be the end of the day, and I would walk around my house, and I remember it just being brutal, like just being and I lived out in the country, and it was very, very difficult. And my dog, he was the best thing ever, because it caused me to get out of the house and hike, and but there was a period of time where I didn't think I was going to continue doing comics because it was just too lonely, too isolating.
Hmm.
Loneliness is, it was just so isolating.
It is isolating, and you're in your own head.
Exactly, and you have too much time to think.
You're thinking about the work, you're thinking about creative ideas, and if you don't have that, you're thinking about what the hell am I doing with my life?
Well, you
I do that anyway.
You can overthink things people say to you. You become defensive, and you become, something where most people, they learn to deal with society or social things because they're distracted by everything. They don't have time to dwell on things when you're out in the world doing this or doing that. Obviously people have their disagreements or whatever, or issues, but
That's why comic book people are so crazy.
It's true. I do think there's something about that. It's not normal, nor is it healthy to be. First, you're sitting, so it's physically not healthy. You're sitting all day long, and there's no, you can't make it up by going to the gym for an hour or two, because you're still sitting on your rear end, and your body starts to behave as if you're obese, and but then emotionally, or just mentally, it's the same thing. It's a decay, because you need to socialize, you need to connect, you need to communicate. And I think that's another reason why I like this episode, is for those reasons. So I can connect to it for that reason.
I think a lot of people in our business are gravitated towards it because they are socially awkward in the first place.
Yeah.
You've met most of these people, and
well, look at Anna. She struggles
with what?
Anna has real trouble making friends.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, I hate being around people so much. I'm like, leave me the hell alone.
Yeah, I get that because I've gotten like that myself. But it's when you're forced to, and you literally don't have a choice, and you are just in that position. It's different when it's.
I don't know. I remember as a kid when I watched Castaway, and I was like, why would he leave? He's on like a tropical paradise. Aside from the fish, that I was like, okay, I don't think I could live on an island and only eat
I
fish.
think everybody goes through where they want to be by themselves for a bit. Like my kids go to school, my wife goes to work, whatever, and I'm like, good, I get some relaxing downtime,
Right.
and I can focus and things like that. But when it's all you are, and it's all it is,
Mm-hmm.
then it's
Well, I mean, that's a good point if you go to that extreme. But I mean, I'm like Anna. I'm kind of an isolationist. I would rather just not go anywhere or do anything. But I mean, that also could be because I'm,
yeah, but you're married.
well, that's true. I have my wife around all the time. So, and my mom lives with us. So yeah, there's people around. But no, I mean, it's a good point. I think you bring up some good points of why this is a well-written episode for the concept.
Mm-hmm.
But again, for
There's
me,
no buts. No. There's no buts. That's it.
oh, no, there's a but. There's a but. And here's the but. The but is I don't watch Star Trek to be bored. I want some action. And this was just like, and I know I appreciate that. I watched it again today and I sort of appreciated everything because I know you guys were, talking it up last week. This is one of my favorites. I love this about the isolationism and blah, blah, blah. And I just watched it and I was just kind of like,
Wait a minute, Aaron. What do you mean there was no action? How about when Zephyr Cochran had to run all the way over, screaming,
Yeah, he had to run a long way.
Yeah.
How about when the companion like attacked them inside the hut there?
I don't know. If Kirk
you're just a shallow person for crying out.
No. If Kirk had jumped off the wall and used his butt to hit the monster, that now we're talking.
Yeah, right.
There's no Kirk Fu in here.
No, I
get what you're saying.
I think they could have packaged this episode differently so that it was more entertaining to somebody like me who's looking for a little bit more action in the episode. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, but again, I don't know. I just can't really get there where you are.
Well, wouldn't you have thought that Zephyrin, after being stuck there, like, what does he do all day? Nothing, just wait around to like go and morph with the companion. Like, wouldn't you get bored? Like a guy like that literally created warp drive. What is he doing all day, every day for the past
100 and something years?
150 years. What has he been doing? And he just acts like, oh yeah, what's up, everyone? Like, is he high? What's going on? At least with
he's not bored because he has the entity, the companion.
I know. So is that all he does all day? Is just sit there and she morphs with him? Like, and you don't get bored after 150 years?
It doesn't understand that he wants to die.
He's gardening. He has a garden. Remember, he said he grows vegetables right over the hill.
You just said you love being alone. Now listen to how contrary you're being to yourself.
Yeah, because
maybe he likes being alone with the company.
I'm not. That doesn't have anything to do with boredom. I do a lot of
well, maybe he didn't get bored. Maybe he saw other parts of the planet and didn't bore.
Well, no, wait a minute. He was very anxious. He was very anxious to leave
into it for us to know. I mean,
he was very anxious to get off the planet when Kirk offered him that option.
Mm-hmm. It's not like he's sitting around tinkering because he took all his ship apart and all of his tools just kind of sit there. So it's not like he's like, oh yeah, look at all of my new inventions I've been doing the past 150 years. Like, I don't know.
Guys, it's funny how when you guys disagree with something, you start to write your own stories.
Well, okay, Mr. Push Spock in front of the truck, or Spock pushes Edith Keeler in front of the truck.
Well, that was a joke.
Yeah, was it? Was it?
I was joking.
I think my problem is I try to apply my own personal logic to things that don't make sense to me, and that's when I get frustrated. So,
well, the world doesn't revolve around your emotional life.
I know, but that's why I don't particularly care for this episode. That and the Karen.
Just teasing
you. No, I could see myself writing a situation like this within the context of a bigger story, and I'd be totally fine with it. But the fact that it's the entire story, I was just like, give me some cavemen or give me a Gorn or something,
Originally, Scotty was supposed to be on was supposed to be down there, and Spock was supposed to be up on the Enterprise. But when they got to the part in the script where the Spock gets zapped, by the entity, DC Fontana reminded him that we've got 3 other scripts coming up where Scotty is getting zapped by somebody, and maybe we ought to swap him out, So they
Put him on the
swap
bridge.
Spock for it and put Scotty up in the ship.
I think though, just back to Aaron really quick. I think you keep wanting to expect there to be action adventure when that's the whole point of Star Trek. Was it ran the gamut of all kinds of themes and ideas. It wouldn't, you can't. That's why it was a multi-dimensional, appealing show to so many, because it wasn't just, well, I needed a Gorn in there. I needed, lasers, or I needed somebody to fight, or that's why Star Trek is considered as great literature, visual literature. It's because it,
Well, I'd rather watch this episode than an episode of Marcus Welby for sure.
Well, that's not.
But I'm just saying.
It's like watching a great Shakespearean play. I mean, all of Shakespeare's plays were in the same vein. They were, lots of different themes and things. Running through all the things he wrote, and that's the great thing about Star Trek. It was like watching one of the best plays, but with thought-provoking themes, different ones, not always Kirk drop kicking, whatever. I get
Mandalorian.
it. I get you didn't like that because it wasn't in there, but that's not what Star Trek was. That's why Star Trek transcended other shows the way the Twilight Zone did.
But that's why we have favorite episodes and least favorite episodes, right?
Well, but that's why you're not qualified to talk about Star Trek, because you aren't understanding Star Trek.
I completely understand
the ethos, the ethos of Star Trek.
Oh, I understand. I'm just saying, Ron, that I am
like Tyson and Jake Paul right here.
No.
Oh,
I'm Tyson. I think. Wait a minute. No,
I think I'm Tyson.
You're older than me, but you look younger. So
no, I don't.
It's too much. I'm too isolated. That's my problem. 60.
I just turned 62. We're close enough in age.
Yeah, but you look way better than I do.
Not true.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Try not to look now.
Try and look younger.
What do you think?
I gotta do something about my lighting. I look like a corpse. Like like
you need warm lighting, not cool lighting.
I've got a red light on me, and
Anna's got
green. I don't know
lighting that shows off her makeup just right with
You
all
need to get the
nice
the warm
blues and softness, and
Oh, she gets it. That's why she's so successful. Mine
is a little dimmer because I just don't like bright light.
But see, look at if Anna was isolated in this room, look at all the toys she has to play with. She keeps herself busy for 150 years. Easily.
It's too bad Zephyr Cochrane didn't load his spaceship up with toys if he knew he was going to be.
Exactly. How much equipment was he able to make toys out of?
Yeah.
Well,
and by the way, what was that piece of equipment he handed? It looked like it might have been a speaker for like a drive-in. It was a real piece of hardware. It wasn't like a prop. They've done that a few times. They take pieces out of a car or something, and say, "Here's that."
Yeah. What was it? Yeah, like his apartment there, the little hut. Like didn't it have a couple pieces on the wall? Like, where did those come from?
Yeah,
a piece of art or something, or was it empty? I thought I remember seeing like he didn't do any paintings or anything.
Well, 150 years, a lot of time to practice.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Why didn't he tinker and make other new inventions?
Why didn't he paint?
Yeah, because
he should have been like now. See, then I
maybe he did. Maybe he
was an engineer, not an artist.
Had all kinds of paintings on it in it. He just didn't have time to show them his art gallery.
He should have built something.
That was in the other wing.
Yeah,
I think that it was weird that it took all of them so long to realize who he was.
Yeah, he looks familiar. Last name is Cochrane.
It didn't take him that long.
Yeah, but the guy's been dead for 180 years.
I know, but you're telling me the science officer wouldn't have known immediately, oh, that's Zephyr Cochrane.
Well, he wouldn't know him by his looks.
No, because he looked completely different than the one.
Would you know what Grover Cleveland looked like?
Probably not.
Okay.
But I'm sure.
I don't know.
He's not Spock either.
Would you know who that Star Wars girl from 1974 was?
No, because Star Wars wasn't out until 77. So
exactly.
How would it make any sense?
Exactly.
And that's why she hates that episode, because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I guess the one saving grace is that they didn't have Scotty, because Scotty, it wouldn't have made any more sense for him to not recognize him immediately since he's the engineer. But still, it's like, I don't know. It just, that dude wasted a lot of time, 150 years, and he just sat there morphing with a
I
cloud.
can't even believe we're harping on that point. It's just so.
I'm just at this point, I'm just nitpicking.
He was there for
because it is a
150
good
years.
episode.
He was there for 30 or 150.
He could have built a city in that time.
The point is that thing kept him alive for that long.
Well, I'm not arguing that point. I'm just again, this is at best just nitpicking on my end, but it's like it would have made more sense instead of a garden. They're walking through, all of his new inventions.
Well, didn't they have a lower budget this season now?
He couldn't invent anything. They didn't have the money for it.
Yeah, they had a lower budget of $185,000, but this episode cost them $198,000. And so now with 2 episodes in, they were like almost $60,000 over budget.
I was a little annoyed also at the contrivance of them being in the shuttlecraft. There's no reasonable purpose for them to be in the shuttlecraft and then rendezvous with the Enterprise.
Yeah,
Where are they coming from?
So her planet that she was like, she was being a diplomat to keep a war.
Why wouldn't they just orbit and beam her up?
Right. Why do they, and how do they get that far away that it took them 5 hours to rendezvous? I mean, if they had even just said that Enterprise was doing something else and whatever, they had 2 missions at the same time, or just little dumb things like that. But
I have a more salient question for you, Aaron.
Yeah.
When they're in the shuttlecraft, she's pouring coffee for them, right? So they're drinking coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, how long before we rendezvous with your ship? She says 4 hours. So they're drinking coffee. They're going to be there for 4 hours. Where the hell is the John in this place?
Dude, it's got to be in the back. I asked the same question. I was like,
not
4 hours.
We saw Galileo 7, that back door opened.
Maybe this is a different model of shuttlecraft.
Well, no. There was a little someplace they could have stashed a toiter in there, I think.
And you're running out of good ideas for conversations when you're talking about where.
Okay. Here's the thing. I wanted to say that I actually like the idea that Scotty was on the bridge. I think he's a better second in command than Spock when he has to, when he's on the bridge.
I agree.
He's a hard ass on the bridge, and I like him.
He's more like Kirk.
Well,
well, nobody's like DeSalle, Ron.
Well, I bet credits to Navy Beans that nobody's like DeSalle, but
DeSalle's the best ever.
Yeah,
I like Dick. No, think about all the episodes where Scotty's been on the bridge and he's always makes the right decision.
Yeah,
and I'm like, he should be doing this instead of Spock. He's better,
especially after how Spock handled command in Galileo 7. Kirk should never put him in charge of that ship again.
Right.
Remember when Sulu became captain of that ship in the movies? He's like this. Take care, Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
So
boy, talk about overacting.
Yeah.
It's like he thought he really got a promotion.
Yeah. So desperate to get his own TV series or movie.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh well. They gave.
All right, let's get some grades here.
No. We all win. You have to explain why this is one of your favorite episodes.
Why it's one of my favorite? Oh, I think I did in my intro.
We weren't listening though.
I didn't. I got paint all over my shirt. I had to go run and wash it up.
Well, it's one of my favorites because the acting is great. I think like when Kirk is giving that speech to the companion, just look at his face, the nuances on his face as he's trying to explain to this thing about human needs. It's so great. It's a great romance story. The music is awesome. 2 great guest stars, Glenn Corbett, who was in Route 66, and of course Eleanor Donahue, who was in Father Knows Best and the Andy Griffith Show.
Wasn't she Marcus Welby?
I don't know. That would be later on.
I think she played his daughter. I don't know.
Could be.
The only music I like in episodes is dun 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 dun. Then you got action coming.
And it involves Vulcans.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So that's why I like it. I think it's a well done story. It taps into that Jonathan Swift thing that that Roddenberry was always so hot on, to be able to tell stories that you can't get through, and you tell it in a science fiction way to get the message across. And I thought they did that very well here.
You know, what's the actor's name again who played Cochrane?
Glenn Corbett.
Corbett. He was sort of like a cross between. Well, he was what would have made a better Captain Pike than what's his name,
Jeffrey
The other
Hunter.
guy.
because there was something about Corbett that had a little bit more character.
Compassion, humanity.
He projected less
He had more charisma.
I didn't think he's a very good actor, though.
bland stoicism. Yeah.
Come on. He loved alien energy cloud, and that's something that
He would have stayed on the planet with the chick. He wouldn't have figured out the illusions.
oh man.
I like when Cochrane says to Kirk, "Well, I already know the reason," and he says, "You're not going to like it." And Kirk goes, "I already don't like it."
Don't like it. I got a very short patience for
Yeah.
whatever he said to him. Yeah.
That's great. All right, let's get some grades.
It is.
Hilarious.
It's you, Ron. Great.
Me?
this movie.
Yeah, with clockwise.
Grade it?
Let's go clockwise.
Oh, okay. 7.
Wow. I would have thought for as much as you guys loved this episode, they'd be a little higher than that.
Well, I think that's a high score. Anything between 7 and 10 is a good score.
Aaron?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a 10. It's not the Godfather of Star Trek.
All right. This episode I give 0.5.
Wow.
No, I'm
Hate
kidding.
it.
I give it a 5.
5. Average episode.
Well, a little below, well, I guess. Yeah. I mean, here again, the thing is, it didn't have the stuff that I really like in an episode, but it was a good story in the context of what they were doing. It's just not my kind of story. So. Don't rough up your daughter. Does she know there's like 5,000 people watching right now?
Look at this abusive man.
I'll see you in a bit.
What was your number, Aaron? 5?
5.
5. Anna?
I'd say a 6.
Oh, that's a
So
little
I'm-
higher than I thought you were going to go.
Yeah, that's better than half. So it's
Well, no, I mean, like, there's stuff that I don't like about the episode, but I thought that Kirk and McCoy were probably the best part of it, and so all of their scenes I really liked. It was
Yeah.
just, it drives me crazy that somebody could be there for 150 years and do nothing. I'm like, you wasted so much time. So that just
well,
drives
but
me.
you see,
Congress
that's
has been
the
there for
fallacy.
200 years, Anna, and they
That's-
still do nothing.
And this is
That's-
why I hate
That's the
politics.
fallacy in the thinking of that, because you'll never know what that's like because we don't live that long. How do you know whether if he lived 150 years or 500 years? You don't
Because
know
if I just
how it
think
would
about,
affect you.
well, listen, I've been irritated about this since I was a child. I just like all the time.
Everything
you
is.
have
It's
people
always since you were a child you were irritated.
because that's when I watched it and I've been irritated about it for that
Aaron,
long.
what was your score again, Aaron?
5.
Oh, okay.
Anna's a 6. I gave it an 8.
So again, the highest and lowest go. So it's an 8 and a 5. 8 and a 5. So me and Anna, it's between
I
Anna
know.
and I. So it's
So 6.5.
What were you?
I was a 7.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So 6.5.
You know, maybe I'll change mine. I think I'll come up to a.
You want to move it up? You already
Yeah,
said
I
it.
think I want to come up to a 7.5 because I really do believe in what I was saying about the loneliness aspect. And the theme, I think, is what was important. So I'm going to raise mine. So that brings us up to a 7, which means I win.
Okay, now then I'm going to lower mine.
I know, right?
I think 5 is, other than the Lazarus episode, I think 5 is the lowest I've gone on any
I
episode.
think I'm going to bring mine up to an 8.
Oh my gosh.
3.
You already said it. It's set in
3.
stone.
I'm with Graham.
You can't do it just to
So now you got to
spite
take
Aaron.
off Graham's score and
Aaron's
score.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Thanks,
were.
Ron.
Oh, wait.
You want me to
were
lower
lower.
mine? I can lower mine down to Aaron's.
Okay, so we're
Do it.
still at 7. No,
I'm
we're-
going to 11.
Mine goes to 11.
But if you made 10 the
No.
highest, then 10 would be. Yeah, but this goes to 11.
Yeah, and he's all confused, and you see it says 11 on.
Yeah.
He just writes it. This is my favorite season of Star Trek, though. So there's going to be some big numbers coming up. So I've got to play it conservative.
Yeah. And I know there's going to be some conflict here because, there's some really wacky episodes in this season. And I got a feeling you like them.
What's the next episode?
You better believe it. Bring on them Nazis and breads and circuses and
Bread and Circuses is good. The next one is Friday's Child.
Oh, okay, that's
yeah.
one I'm not crazy about.
come on, it's McCoy.
That one, see, this one is the one that Aaron's gonna like because there's throwing spears
And whistle things.
and embarrassing looking Klingons who look like something out of
That was
Room
Mod Squad.
222 back.
it was the mods. That guy was from the mod
I
squad.
know. That's
Yeah,
why-
I was gonna say that he was. I said Room 222, and I couldn't think of the Mod Squad. But yeah, with bad sideburns or whatever.
See, I mean, maybe
And then he gets hit by the thing.
Maybe
Klingon,
Ron's
yeah.
right. Maybe I am just shallow and Ron's this deep thinker. But give me some Klingon action, baby.
Don't
I'm right
let
there.
him. Don't let him.
Well, I think the
convince
next
you
4
of those
episodes are
things.
actually pretty
Ron
decent.
or
So.
Aaron.
What did you say, Graham?
I said to Aaron, don't let Ron convince you of
Don't let me.
Westworld.
Don't let me make you doubt yourself.
Right. Stand up.
But on the converse
I can
side
think
of
about
that,
is loneliness
it's
now.
okay to acknowledge a superior opinion.
And being.
Anna, jump in here and help me. We're on the same side on this one.
All right. What were you saying, Anna?
I don't remember.
It takes a big man to admit a superior opinion.
You sure do think a lot of your opinion, don't you?
Oh, I'm getting to Anna
Fine.
now. Look
Hey,
at
he's the number one authority in the
Mr.
world
Man.
on his own opinion.
masculinity. I'm pregnant, so don't come back at me.
Oh, pregnancy doesn't have any effect on my opinion on Star Trek.
You're giving your opinion on me. And
Oh, maybe next week it will because it
Yeah.
all deals with a pregnant lady.
yeah.
Only McCoy
Exactly.
can touch the baby.
And then
Oh my
Shatner,
gosh.
then
Can
Shatner
you
has to
run up
make
a
the
Can
boy
you run up a
explain
mountain?
himself.
Can I run up a mountain? Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I still can.
Okay.
Doesn't she have the baby and calls McCoy daddy or something?
Yeah. McCoy.
Um,
You have to say the baby is mine. The baby is mine. Okay. The baby's yours.
It's like, no.
No, that's not what I mean. Coochie, coo.
What I read in a perfect world, Anna will go into labor on this show.
I hope not.
Imagine.
Oh man. If
Oh,
Anna,
my God.
I want super chats. If Anna goes into
Yeah.
labor, guys.
And we'll all be
During
around
the
your
Star
ears
Trek
telling
show?
her,
Oh
While
my
they're
god.
yelling for peaches, and you won't be able to hear it.
Anna, you can do it.
Well, let's see. I
We'd have to
got
walk her through it. We'd be like the one of those women that hang around women when they're having babies. Maidens? No.
First
Midwives.
maid.
Midwives.
listen, I got
Midwives.
I have 7 weeks left. I don't want to do
Anna,
this.
do you have baby making hips?
No, well, I got them finally. I
You
finally
finally
have
got
them.
Oh, that's
I
right.
always
You
had
said
straight
you-
hips, and now they finally widened.
You got the curves now, huh?
Oh.
Good for you.
Finally.
Hopefully they won't shrink up on you after you.
I hope not.
Keep the curves, baby.
They get
Yeah.
thinner after you have the baby.
I
Well,
hope
you
my
haven't put
stomach
on.
goes back
Hey,
to-
you have hardly put on any weight at all.
Oh, you guys are so nice. I go on the Jack show. They're like, "You've hit the wall. You've blown up."
Oh, you look
didn't hit.
great. You look
Oh
fantastic.
my goodness.
For 7 weeks ago, you look
You
fantastic.
couldn't even tell that you were pregnant.
I'm not saying that because you know me. You didn't hit the wall at all, so don't listen to that.
Well, maybe it's just the lighting.
You
Just
look like a
you gotta be
pregnant-
careful who you hang out with. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have a different audience than the Jack show.
That's right.
that's true. That's true. But I do call them fat
I
and gay
still
every
haven't
day,
checked
so
that
I kind
Well,
of
there's
deserve
that
it.
too.
Yeah, I guess you're asking for it then.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, gang. I think we've exhausted this one.
There's a difference between exhausting it and it exhausting us.
Well, I think it's a little of both. But I was up very late last night.
So was I. I was afraid they were going to put the fix in, so I stayed up all night
Yeah.
watching Charlie Kirk.
It wasn't that late for us, Aaron.
Yeah, I was going to say this stuff for you.
Well, dude, I was up till almost 2 a.m.
Hey,
so-
by the way, I found a couple of those pictures before, but it's before. I can't find the ones of James Doohan walking out on stage. But hold on, how do I share?
Oh, of you?
Wait, did we change subjects?
Yeah, he changed the subject.
Okay.
Hit
Yeah.
present down there at the bottom.
Right.
Then it'll say
Aaron, did you
share.
like how both of our states got called before they finished counting Georgia? And I'm like, that's the other side of the country. How are you still counting Georgia?
Georgia
Or
took a long
Arizona,
time.
my gosh,
I know.
Arizona.
I was like, what the heck? But who would have thought the Amish came in clutch?
Yeah.
That was
Did
so
you
funny.
see those videos of them in their buggies with the Trump flag zipping down the road?
Oh my
You
gosh.
see
Yeah, I
it.
saw the photos, but I was just like,
That's
who
so
would have
great.
known? Like squirrels, raccoons, and Amish would have been the headlines the past couple of weeks.
Oh, I put Peanut in the drawing. Did you see it?
Oh, you did? I haven't seen the updated one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did you
Oh,
post it in the
Peanut.
group chat?
Yeah, I put it back in the room.
Let's see.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, look at
You see it, Anna?
Oh, look
that.
at
Which one are
Ron,
you?
Captain Kirk.
That's
The
me,
gold shirt.
and I got tribbles coming out of my shirt.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Nice
we're
high-waisted
calling that
jeans.
tribbles now?
And then there's the guy with that's my pubic hair grain.
Is that a convention that you're at?
Yeah, it was it was during the auditions. I had to audition for Kirk. That's the kid playing Spock. And then when we went out on stage, James Doohan talked over the thing and came out, finished the script.
Oh,
Did he play Scotty?
Yeah, he was reciting the lines from the actual Tribble script because they had the original script there from the
Oh,
show.
so you had like the ending where you're going.
Where I was sitting on the
Reasonable
show,
board
I even
and-
smacked James Doohan in the stomach like Shatner does.
That's great.
He's like,
not
hey,
too hard. You put him
Well,
on his knees, probably, right? He's like,
he
oh.
said something, well, there'll be no Tribble at all. And everybody starts laughing. He whacks him.
Oh man.
Did you get to see his missing finger?
Yeah, it was so long ago. I mean, that was literally like 40 years ago. So
They did an action figure doll of him where he did not have the finger on the doll.
Really?
Yeah, I was at a toy booth at San Diego pre-COVID, I think, and they were like 12-inch Star Trek figures, pretty expensive. My son and I are walking around looking, and there's Adam Hughes, holding a Star Trek doll, and he goes, "Aaron, check this out. Have you seen these?" And I'm like, "No." And he goes, "Look at that Scotty. He even doesn't even have his finger." It's
Wait, he was talking to a Nazi?
I know, pretty.
I was just gonna say, I heard he was
embarrassing.
fairly vocal.
Yes, the entity groomed him. It was beautiful, Ron. It really was.
It needed to come out.
You're like John Belushi in Animal House. You just had to get it out.
All right, guys, we've been going now for over an hour. So
And only 15 minutes were spent on Star Trek. So
Yeah.
Some episodes get more love than others.
that's the way it goes.
Yeah,
I think we all made our points well enough, and we all agreed that it was an 8.
No.
What?
right.
No.
What just happened?
I don't
All
know.
right, guys.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Hey.
And we'll be talking about what did I say was Friday's Child. That's right.
All right,
So-
hang on, Graham, once you shut off.
Yeah. Once the outro plays, we'll pop back in.
Okay.
Okay. All right. See you, everybody.